You know, the One Ring, the big bad, the my precious. But what if I told you that same ring was only one of a 20-ring pyramid of power? 19 other rings, each with its own story, its own curse, quietly pulled the strings of Middle-earth for thousands of years. And here's the kicker. Sauron never even touched most of them after he gave them away. Yet, he still won. In this video, we're breaking down every ring of power, what it does, who wore it, and how it actually changed the fate of Middle-earth stick around. Okay, lightning round setup. Way back in the Second Age, Sauron, disguised as a gift-giving angel named Anatar, teams up with the greatest elven smiths in a region, led by Celebrimbor. Together they crank out rings, lots of rings. This wasn't a weekend project. This was a massive, years-long collaboration. The elves believed they were crafting tools to heal Middle-earth, not realizing they were basically helping Sauron write malware he already planned to sync with. Think of it as Sauron creating the ultimate operating system, and all the other rings are just devices logged into his network. The main lineup: 3 for the elf lords, 7 for the dwarf kings, 9 for mortal men, and 1 to rule them all, forged secretly by Sauron and Mount Doom behind everyone's back. Here's the cheat code. Every ring except the 3 elven ones is hardwired to the one. Put it on, and Sauron gets a backdoor into your soul. He doesn't need to be near you. He doesn't even have to know you personally. The moment you accept his gift, you're basically installing spyware. The 3 elven rings. Let's start with the good guys, sort of. The 3 elven rings, Narya, Nenya, and Vilya. These are the only rings Sauron never laid a finger on. That's why their bearers never turn into wraiths. These rings were crafted with the intention of healing and preserving, not conquering or dominating. First up, Narya, the Ring of Fire, originally given to Círdan, who later hands it to Gandalf when the wizard arrives in Middle-earth. Narya kindles courage. It's less fireball spell and more hope in the dark. Think of Gandalf lifting Theoden's spirits, or lighting the way in Moria, little hope light bulbs popping over people's heads. It's the quiet kind of power, the kind that helps others rise when everything feels like it's collapsing. Next, Nenya, the Ring of Water, also called the Ring of Adamant. Galadriel's ring, preserves. It holds back decay, keeps Lothlorien a pocket of the First Age while the rest of the world ages. Her woods stay untouched by corruption, time, or war. Visitors feel like they step into a memory, something ancient, safe, and sacred. It's why her realm feels like stepping into a dream you don't want to wake from. Finally, Vilya, the Ring of Air, the mightiest of the 3. Elrond uses Vilya to heal, to shield, to command the elements. Rivendell becomes more than a valley. It becomes a sanctuary, a place where darkness is slowed, where minds can rest, and where wounds, physical and emotional, recover. Rivendell is basically a fortress of nope to darkness. The Elven rings are less about flashy power and more about holding the line against time, despair, and entropy itself. They're Tolkien's love letter to beauty that refuses to fade, the 7 dwarf rings. Now the dwarves, 7 rings for 7 houses. These rings amplify what's already inside a dwarf. Stubbornness, craft, and a serious thing for treasure effect. Greed on steroids. The rings don't dominate dwarves the way they do men. Dwarves are too ornery for that. But they hijack priorities until gold is the only priority. They don't turn invisible, and they don't fade, but their minds drift toward accumulation, obsession, and hoarding. At least 4 of the 7 are swallowed by dragons. Sauron later recovers 3, maybe 4. The last one? Probably still buried under some dragon's pillow, melted into a treasure pile so old it may never be found again. Psychology check. The dwarf rings don't steal your soul. They just make you the world's worst roommate, hoarding until your friends and your kingdom burn. It's a slow corruption, not a dramatic one, and that's what makes it terrifying. The 9 rings for mortal men. The 9. The ones that turn men into ring wraiths, originally gifted to lords who wanted more life, more power, more legacy. And the rings gave them all of that at first. Extended lifespan, invisibility, fear as a weapon. For a while, they were unstoppable. Warriors, kings, sorcerers, all elevated by Sauron's gifts. Then the bill comes due. They don't die, they fade. Bodies vanish, wills evaporate. they become permanent residents of the shadow world. What's left are the Nazgul, undying, unstoppable, and eternally homesick for a life they can't remember. They're trapped between worlds, pulled forward by Sauron's will and backward by memories too faint to hold on to. Tolkien's gut punch. The Nine promise you more time and more power, but clinging too hard to life is exactly how you lose it. The One Ring, center stage, the One Ring, forged alone by Sauron in the cracks of doom. He pours in a chunk of his own Maiar soul. Think of it as offloading your hard drive into a thumb drive, except the thumb drive wants to rule you. It's not symbolic, it's literal. A piece of Sauron lives inside the ring. Primary power, domination. It syncs with every other ring, except the three, and gives Sauron a remote control kill switch on their bearers. Secondary effects on mortals. Invisibility. Unnatural lifespan. Corruption that twists your best intentions. The ring doesn't just make you evil, it personalizes the evil. Gollum wants to eat fish in peace. Boromir wants to save Gondor. Frodo wants to save the Shire. Same ring, custom nightmares. The One Ring isn't just a weapon, it's a temptation system, and almost nobody passes the test. Quick aside, there were lesser rings too. Practice runs, prototypes. Tolkien calls them essays in the craft. These weren't meant for domination. They were more like early experiments. They might let you open a stuck jam jar or make your tomatoes grow faster. Harmless little side projects. Somewhere out there, a random merchant might still have a knockoff that makes his beer slightly colder. A little Middle-earth quality of life upgrade. Zoom out. The rings are Tolkien's microscope on the human, well, elf and dwarf too, condition. Elves use theirs to preserve a world that's slipping away. Men use theirs to cheat death and time. Dwarves use theirs to hoard what can't last. And Sauron? He weaponizes all those desires into a single trap. Power always comes with a price, and in Middle-earth, the receipt is usually your soul. So, 3 to preserve, 7 to hoard, 9 to enslave, and 1 to rule the rest. If this deep dive lit up your lore receptors, hit that like button, subscribe, and tell me in the comments. Which ring would you risk putting on? Be honest. Next time, we're going full goth. The Nazgul, one by one, who they were before the rings took them, and the clues Tolkien left about their past lives. This is Stickmen of Middle-earth, and remember, power always comes with a price.